Howdy and hello there, folks. Welcome back into Tier 1 Ascension T1A. For those of you who don't know, have you been fading quarterback in your Dynasty startup? Wondering who you can get later on in your draft? On this episode, we're going to go into 4 starting quarterbacks being drafted as QB2s that could be easily QB1s by season end. Here's what we think. Let's get into it.
Hey everybody, don't forget, everyone, hit the thumbs up and put the duh up in the subscribe duh. So picture this. You're getting through the first couple rounds of your superflex startup draft. You manage to get sniped every time when it comes to your pick and the quarterback you want is on the board. So you say, fuck it, going full tilt. Draft Tua, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Bo Callahan, if you know, you know. Well, don't do that. We've got you covered 4 QBs that will give you plenty of production for the next 2 years. Viable band-aids with high upside. That could end up making you look really smart. Tank, how about you start us off with the first quarterback?
All right, Cranny, we got Derek Carr from the Las Vegas Raiders. 31 years old. His sleeper ADP right now is 53. Going in about the 6th round, 16th QB coming off the board. Man, he took a huge leap last year once he was free of John Gruden.
Yeah, such a big leap that the Raiders went ahead and signed him to a 3-year extension through 2025. And McDaniel picked Carr in this situation. He knew he had to get this pick right for his next head coaching job, especially after everything that went down in Denver.
Oh, yeah.
So much so that he even backed out of the Indy job last second. I think that was 3 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind, that McDaniels picked Carr for this specific job and got him signed. It's a great spot for these guys to be into.
Yeah. Carr had been slowly proving, year over year, slowly getting his yardage up. Now he's got a 4,800-yard season under his belt. And I don't see it regressing much with the addition of Devontae. He's got a healthy Waller. He's got a healthy Renfro, healthy Josh Jacobs, healthy Kenyon Drake. This team is poised for an offensive explosion. Not to mention the division they're in. They're going to have some big games to stay very relevant. It's not too far out of bounds to see him put up what I would see as 4,600 plus yards, his measly little 100 rushing yards. But he's going to have 30 plus total touchdowns. That could be enough to get him from where his current ADP is into that top 10.
McDaniel's coached success with Brady, the GOAT, Mac Jones, the rookie, even Tim Tebow in an offense that he just designed for the guy. He even found success with Cam Newton because he knows how to build an offense around what works for a quarterback. And he figured out real early that Cam can't throw for shit. And so they were designing a lot of run plays for Cam. They were designing short pass plays, pitch plays. He built the offense around Cam, and he's about to go and do that for Derek Carr here. The Adams and Carr connection, you can't downplay what a quarterback and wide receiver have as far as a tie, right? A connection. Adams and Carr connected on 131 catches for 1,719 yards, 24 touchdowns during a 5,000-yard, 50-touchdown passing season for Derek Carr while they were both at Fresno State. Yeah. These guys have got it figured out.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's going to limit Carr this year from being elite is going to be the offensive line. They're ranked 29th right now in the PFF O-line ranking.
Yep, I would agree with you on that. And then if we're going to go right into the next guy here. If you're looking around that same ADP, you can find a guy like Kirk Cousins, 33 years old, so he's got a few more years on him, an 82 ADP, that's 7th round, going as quarterback 21. Cousins signed through 2023 on a restructured deal. He's finally free of the chains that bound him in both Washington and thus far in Minnesota with Mike Zimmer. And now enters Kevin O'Connell, an ex-QB himself, a disciple of Sean McVay. O'Connell coming over from the Super Bowl champs is huge for Cousins.
Yeah. New coach should bring in definitely a slightly heavier passing game. So his volume will slightly increase, but the increase that will come is going to be in the efficiency of that offense and his passing game.
I would agree with you on that, bud. I think so too. Cousins finishes from 2021 to 2018. 11, 19, and 13. That's in 4 years. And that's like the 2 years of J.J. Jetts, And that's in 4 years of dealing with Mike Zimmer and a defensive-oriented head coach and a run-the-ball-first guy.
Yeah.
Stuff's crazy there.
Yeah, 4,200 yards and over 33 touchdowns last 2 seasons, which is funny. That does coincide with how long Jay Jets has been over there.
I wonder what's going on there.
Yeah. The talent is going to be a plenty for Cousins. He, aside from Jefferson, there's still Thielen, the red zone machine. They've got Dalvin. He's a phenomenal back, let alone a receiving back. And we've got the emergence of KJ Osborne. That's going to come. Wowza, Kurt's going to have some big old stats. I think Kirk's going to keep his 4,200 yards, 33 touchdowns, which was good enough for QB 11 last year at the end. He was 8th in passing yards, 9th in total touchdowns. So this is solid where he is, but I'd expect him to finish well above that by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think there's plenty in the tank for Kirk. You like that, Cousins. And I think O'Connell can get it out of him. I think he's got a good system. It's going to fit what Kirk likes to do. And have the weapons already in place to get it done.
Yeah. So he's got a no-trade clause. He wants to retire a Viking. He's there for the long haul for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So don't give me too much crap here because of my Bucs fandom, but we have to have Jameis on this list.
I didn't want to do this.
Yes, you did. He was your right. No, I'm just kidding.
Throw me under the bus. Come on now.
All right, so we've got Jameis on the New Orleans Saints, 28 years old, 112 on his ADP. It's between like the 10th and 11th round. Going off as the 24th QB off the board. This sounds
yeah, but I mean, he signed through 2023. He's got 3 avoidable years. I think he's got a good chance. I mean, we did a little bit of stat search on him.
Yeah.
In the 7 games he played, one of which he played was only 26% of the snaps. This game he hurt his knee in. He still had 1,170 yards, which isn't all that great, and that's pretty low yardage totals. But what's got everybody freaking out is the 14 touchdowns to 3 picks he had. Very un-Jameis. And I think a lot of people are putting that he can continue that. I don't think he continues that, but I think it comes to the median. And I think the yards go up, right?
Yeah. Oh, Captain Crab Legs. Famous Jameis. This guy's going to be a steal. I understand when his draft capital was this low last year. What he is planning on a prove a deal then. He is the Saints quarterback. He's signed through 2023. He has avoidable 3 years for salary cap reasons, which we won't get into all of that. But he started last year very restricted. He only threw 20 throws per game. Once they unleashed him on week 5, we saw the potential. He threw for 279 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Now, of course, he had that week 1 5 touchdown game, but that's truly an anomaly.
Yeah, that's just kind of putting it funny out there. So all that, and then you add in the weapons, right? Like he's getting Michael Thomas back. They added Chris Olave. They added Jarvis Landry.
Oh, yeah.
They finally committed Taysom Hill to a position. And I think it's a really good position for him. I don't think he's going to blow anybody out of the water, but just another weapon for Jameis, another fold in this offense. I think the Kamara suspension lingers, but it's looking more like his case is going to carry into next year. So I'm just going to worry about that next year until they have an actual case date, which is right now is like late August. So I'm not going to worry about any of that just now.
I'd still think there's a chance that they lose him, and that's going to hinder this offense. But I think they will hinder this offense. But what team is better without one of its top players? Now, we all know Jameis is going to be looking for the deep ball. Losing Kamara for that little bit, it's not going to affect him a whole lot, but the team, it will. Yeah. He is just that QB that's going to always look to have a short drive with the long play.
I think the biggest question for the Saints right now is what the offense is going to look like without Peyton. And, I mean, we kind of got a glimpse of it when Peyton missed a year, but not really because you had so many leadership pieces there still with Drew Brees and, all the guys who've been on that offense for a while with Drew. But in steps Pete Carmichael. And Pete Carmichael has been with the Saints for 17 years. He was with Sean Payton before Sean Payton even got there, I think. But he was running the offense with Sean for 14 of those years. He spent the last 11 years since the Super Bowl winning run in 2009 as the offensive assistant and then finally taking on offensive coordinator for the last 3 or 4 years. I think he's going to run a really in line with Peyton type of offense. I don't think it's going to be too far-fetched to see this team be very mismatch moved. getting a lot of movement. And with the new weapons, a lot of 3 wide receiver sets, and just kind of let Winston sort of pick them apart a little bit, especially if Kamara's back there. That's just another added weapon to this team.
With those 6 games, he still finished 33rd in fantasy points last year, just right below the old Long Neck Mills and Zach the Wilson. But with how outstanding the Saints defense can play, there's going to be opportunities for Jameis. They really can't afford, literally, to have Taysom come in and play quarterback because of the contract structure there, and Andy Dalton's backup quarterback. Well, Dalton's rifle is better served in a Civil War reenactment than on the NFL field.
Yeah,
they're going to be playing Jameis, and it's going to work out great.
Dalton is Ralphie from A Christmas Story, dude. If Winston can keep the TDs that much bigger than the picks, right, that 14-3 ratio he had going on this year, he'll find success this year and could be a steal in later rounds as a viable streaming number 2 quarterback.
Yeah.
But another viable streaming number 2 quarterback with a way much more potential, Matt Ryan. So we're going to talk a little bit here about Matt Ryan. Matt signed through 2023. He restructured his contract when he got to Indy, just put some of that base salary down, help him out a little bit. In that offense in the past 2 years, Carson Wentz has finished QB 14. Carson Wentz. Phillip Rivers, washed up Rivers, finished QB 17 in 2022. And Ryan is a perfect add to a win now dynasty team and he offers immense upside this coming year.
Absolutely. Matt Ryan's coming into a team where the defense is good, the offensive line is good, they've got a dominant running back, a wideout that's going to be great. This is a perfect storm for a plausible top 10 season for him.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Ryan's had 7 years already above 4,500 yard passing, 9 years above 26 touchdowns. In his MVP season in 2016, he finished number 2 in fantasy points with 346. He did that on 4,900 yard passing, 38 touchdowns. Last year, 346 points was number 5. Matt Stafford. He threw 4,800 yards, almost 49. And 41 touchdowns. I don't know that Ryan quite gets to that threshold, but anything close to 4,530 are going to make him a solid QB2 for your squad. QB2 that you can just start, leave there, no streaming needed.
Hell yes, I fully agree with that. He's a total field general. He's supported number 1 wide receivers throughout his career, from Roddy White to Julio Jones to Calvin Ridley, and to some extent last year Kyle Pitts, who was a high-end tight end who had 1,000 yards last year alone, which was high up in the records. The combo that he has now of Pittman, Alec Pierce coming in, 2 big twin towers on the outsides there, big impose their will on other guys type of guys. The big tight ends, the solid run game. He should be able to operate within the offense and, unlike Wentz, not lose games for the Colts. But in turn, he should be able to help them win and win well.
Yeah, whether or not this team will be a playoff-bound team, I'm really uncertain. That's not what we care about as much in the fantasy world. But if Matt Ryan is slightly more serviceable than Phillip Rivers, watch out. He is about to light the fantasy world on fire.
Yeah, I mean, the upside here, if Ryan can find his connection with Pittman and come anywhere near the QB12, QB10 finish numbers he put up in 2020 and 2019, he's a lock for a QB1 finish next year. That's 4,500 yards, 26 TDs, and 12 picks. That's about the average of where he was those 2 years. And I think he can do that again this year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and to overcome a lot of his red zone issues from before, Matt Ryan has shown, I think the values of the handoffs to JT in the red zone are likely going to jump up, especially near the goal line.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So, hey, everybody, thanks for joining us on this episode. Don't forget, hit the thumbs up, put the duh and subscribe duh. Check back with us. Be like water. Stand by your convictions. T1A out.